Wednesday trope, I was no fan of the idea of an International Men's Day. It seemed to me like a knee-jerk reaction to International Women's Day designed solely to undermine it. To my mind, it made the men complaining about it look a bit pathetic. Not just because there actually was a day already, it's on November the 19th, but also because it was such a babyish way to behave. Equally, though, in that moment, I wasn't really thinking about politics or feminism or the crisis in masculinity. I just thought it might be funny to spend When's International Men's Day, as I began to view it, searching Twitter for everyone who asked this question and politely telling them the answer. November the 19th. I did this partly to see how they responded, partly to show everyone else how ubiquitous this inappropriate, on this one day, question was, and partly in the hope that if I let everyone know, then maybe no one would ask the question ever again. Of course, by doing this, I was setting up an even bigger joke, an even more custardy custard pie that was destined for my own face. That pie would swing and hit me every few seconds for 24 hours on an annual basis for almost a decade. I had willingly made myself into a modern-day King Canute. That's the correct original spelling, C-N-U-T, of the name of the monarch, who is erroneously and much less amusingly more often known as Canute. I thought I had the power to turn back the waves of idiots in my case, but like him, I would end up drenched in stupidity in my case. My 24-hour self-employment as a twat-seeking search engine would leave me overwhelmed, delirious, and by around about 6 p.m. on the day in question, lead to me losing all semblance of politeness or chivalry. Was this social media breakdown merely for comic effect, or was it genuine? Even I wasn't sure. My replies became more befuddled, unreasonable, and insane. It was fun for people to spectate. It was not fun to be at the centre of this hurricane of twats. It proved amusing to most. A few were irritated by the relentlessness and unfollowed or muted me. Pretty quickly, I upset some Menonists who thought I was undermining the importance of their day, which they said wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to women having a day and actually dealt with important issues like male depression and suicide. And I also annoyed some feminists who thought I was making International Women's Day about myself, a man. I have some sympathy with both criticisms, and at least I achieved the impossible and united the Menonists and feminists, even if it was in hatred of me. I wasn't trying to be irksome, but those who were affronted or bored generally failed to recognise the joke was on me. It was a car crash of tedium and self-owned petard hoisting, although I'd hoped that some at least could admire my patience and resilience. It took me 6 years to realise that maybe people would make a donation to charity in return for my dogged and ridiculous dedication. A sort of sponsored trolling, even if arguably I was trolling trolls. But a troller is still a troll. Or a troll. I don't know how to say it either. In 2017, I encouraged my Twitter followers to spur me on by giving money to Refuge, a fantastic enterprise that helps women, children, and men who live in fear of violence. The response was beyond my wildest dreams. Donations flooded in. I was raising thousands of pounds an hour. I had invented a philosopher's stone that turned idiocy, both the questioners and my own, into gold. In the end, I would take on this impossible challenge for 9 consecutive International Women's Days. Like Sam Beckett in Quantum Leap, though it could equally have been something created by the guy who wrote Waiting for Godot, I hoped that every completed year would be my leap home. This turned out to be a mission that could not be completed. The mental strain was becoming too much, but I was also forced to acknowledge what I'd really known from the start. This task was too big for Twitter. The issues that fueled the anger and resentment behind the question and its responses were bigger than the answer to this one question that no one actually wanted the answer to. I wondered if I could do better if I allowed myself more than 280 characters and asked more than one question. Maybe more important than knowing when International Men's Day is, it's on November the 19th, is asking, is International Men's Day something worth celebrating? If so, what should it be about, and how could the world be convinced to join in? What does it even mean to be a man in the 21st century, and who is it to blame for the few bad cards we've been dealt? Are women the enemies of the male sex, or are friends, lovers, and allies? If we want equality, why does feminism, which promises exactly that, scare and infuriate so many men? I'll attempt to answer 19 novel questions. Look, many of them aren't novel, but saying 19 pertinent questions doesn't cleverly reveal the date of International Men's Day. 19 November.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.